What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. And in this video I'm going to be giving you guys a banner review of the new legendary banner which we're getting tomorrow, featuring Alm as the legendary hero. So he's in his Conqueror attire, which leaves us two options for his Choose Your Legends alt, which is the Dong armor of course, or in his father's clothing. I'm not going to be spoiling anything, but that's one of the possibilities as well, because he has got the Conqueror class in this alt, and that was an overclass in Echoes. He's a colorless infantry archer, and we haven't really got that in a minute, and a lot of people were expecting him to be a red bow archer because we haven't really got that yet, but apparently not. It's gonna be someone else, I think. Colorless is definitely really good for nuking because you don't really have the color disadvantage unless you're going up against something like a Raven Tome. Usually you're gonna be able to nuke them with the neutral damage, which is really good. And he has got the Earth Blessing, and his legendary effect is same as legendary Rise effect, which is much more useful for Alm because he has got 162 BST, and he's gonna be able to treat himself like a 170 BST unit in the Earth season in Arena, so that's something for the scoring aspect. But even then, like, he has got such an insane BST compared to other infantry archers, so he has got amazing art and amazing voice lines. So he has got this weapon, Luna Arc, which is effective on flying units of course. It gives him +3 speed, and if he initiates combat, then he deals 25% of foes' defense, and it ignores the reductions to defense from specials like Lunar Flash, because it would be really counterproductive to kind of reduce their defense and then use that defense for your extra damage. So 25% of foes' defense is incredible when you compare it to weapons like Vassal's Blade or Giga Excalibur, which have a cap of +7 damage. Here, we don't really have any kind of cap. The more defense the enemy has got, the more extra damage he'll be able to get from this weapon. So for example, an enemy has got 40 defense, which is a really usual and standard thing now for a lot of tanks. So he's going to be able to get +10 extra damage on each of his hits, which is going to be really powerful because it is true damage, just like Giga Excalibur and Vassal's Blade. So this gives him true damage against these kinds of really tanky opponents. So that makes Alm into a really fearsome player phase unit. Now just keep in mind that this kind of extra damage you're only going to be getting in the player phase. So if you're thinking of making him into a close counter advantage sweeper for Ether raids, because Fire Emblem teams are really annoying and his attack is really good at base 37, this extra damage is not going to be provided to you in the enemy phase, but still his base attack is so good that he can easily rock that Vantage set. So the data mine for this legendary banner is out because tomorrow we have got Golden Week, so they probably do not want to release the update tomorrow. So we have the stats for him. He's insanely min-maxed with 37 base attack and 37 base speed. He has got 162 BST, which is on par with some of the armored archers, which is absolutely incredible. I'm going to be going over that in a moment. Let's look at some of his other skills. He has got Lunar Flash as his exclusive skill. It is basically a love child of Moonbow and Regnal Astra. It has got properties of both. So it gives you 20% extra damage based on foes' defense and resistance, and it also boosts your damage by 20% of Alm's speed. So Darting Blow 4 definitely makes sense with this kind of thing where your speed is going to be resulting into extra damage for you with your special. Usually having a lot of speed can be overkill because speed has kind of become this kind of dead stat because of a lot of these skills and a lot of these weapons and units which intelligence systems have released would just ignore the speed stat to make a follow-up attack or to deny them. So that's why having too much speed can definitely be an overkill at times and doesn't really give you much productively, but in this case Alm is able to get that damage with his special. His Thought skill is a tier 4 skill once again with that ugly yellow border. It's Darting Blow 4 giving you +9 speed, and keep in mind this can be combined with Sacred Seal of Darting Blow to give you even more speed. So Darting Blow is going to be making Alm into a fast demon. So Alm can reach 49 speed in the player phase with neutral speed IV, which is absolutely insane. That's a lot of speed. So if you've got something like a plus speed IV Alm, you definitely do not want to use Darting Blow. You probably want to use Death Blow or even Sturdy Impact actually. That's also another good skill. And this is a 300 SV skill, tier 4 skill, good for arena scoring, but you probably do not want to use this on some kind of armor unit because speed is irrelevant as it is because of the fighter skills and because of, as I said, a lot of things which intelligence systems have released which just ignore as a speed stat to quite an extent. So darting blow 4 in my opinion isn't really all that impressive of a skill for a tier 4 skill, but it definitely has some merits on a lot of quad attack builds, I guess, or with units who have lackluster speed or just workable speed. So you could definitely run this on them to increase their speed stat if they already have plenty attack. Alm is definitely one of them with having plenty attack, but even then, I mean, more attack is never bad, so that's why. So he has got Null Follow-Up as a slot B skill. Definitely a fantastic skill. This was present on a Drift Male Korin. This is really useful for basically Arena for the most part, and also for Ether Raids actually on some tanks. You can ignore stuff like Bullfighter from Duma, that's also a thing, or Bullfighter on Halloween Jacob. In in-game content, Null Follow-Up isn't really going to be all that useful. It's mainly there for Arena and Arena Assault for dealing with those kinds of annoying fighter skills. Quick Riposte, stuff like that, and those kinds of skills. That's definitely useful on Alm, but because he has got a 2-turn cooldown special, it can definitely be abused with something like Special Spiral because he's an infantry archer, so he's gonna be extremely powerful with that. And you can definitely abuse Lunar Flash's 2 cooldown with something like that. It's gonna be incredible for you in something like Abyssal maps, because Alm was pretty much born to cut through these kinds of inflated defenses with his weapon and his special. And if you combine that with Special Spiral, he's gonna be a destructive force. So that's another really good slot B option on him. And of course, Desperation is also pretty good. And as I said, for the stats, he has got extremely min-max stat line of 37 base attack, 37 speed. Highest combination of attack and speed for any archer in the game, which is definitely insane, with having 26 defense, which is definitely workable. It's not really all that bad with 40 HP and lackluster 22 resistance, which is not really all that much. He's gonna get absolutely demolished by Celica. Or any kind of mage, that is. For the most part, he's going to be really powerful in pretty much any area of the game. He's definitely weak on the magical side, so it's going to be easy to pick him off, but that's pretty much it. Definitely offensively min-maxed, and we can compare him to some of the other archers in the game. So he's got 162 BST, which is Gen 3 BST, so the power creep is absolutely insane when it comes to Alm. Just look at the difference between the stats of Alm and these other poor archers. I also want to give a shout out to Cyan Yo for this comparison and for this picture. His Twitter is going to be linked in the description. We've got Legendary Lucena here. She still has the niche of Future Vision, so that's definitely useful still. And that's going to be making her an annoying enemy to face. We've got Bright Cordelia, the original Queen of Bows, who is completely outclassed by Alm when it comes to bulk, when it comes to offenses. His weapon is preferred, so Bright Cordelia is just left in the dust now, and he's just got insane stats. You can also compare him to some of the other options like Jomke. Jomke is a really popular option for free-to-play players because he has really good stat line. If you +1 merge him, he's got 37 attack just like Alm, but he doesn't have access to IVs. But even then, he's going to be a fantastic unit for clearing in-game content, for Ether Raids offense, definitely, because Flyrem teams are annoying. He can run close counter advantage build really well. And Halloween Jacob has got 165 BST. So Alm has the movement of an infantry unit, but doesn't have the BST of an armor unit, and that clunky 1 movement is not something Alm has to deal with. So that's definitely amazing, but that also means that he doesn't have access to Bullfighter, which makes Halloween Jacob into a monstrous threat. No pun intended. So he can definitely be a really powerful unit with that quad set with Bullfighter, Ignis. So yeah, stat wise, Alm really crushed these bastards. You know, he completed his mission. So we've got that pair up mechanic. We already have the stats, so no stat speculation. And now let's move on to the other units on this banner. So we have got Fjorm as the first unit. She has been kicked out of the arena rotation, unfortunately, so that makes her value a bit less. But even then, she's a fantastic unit for clearing in-game content. You have seen my free-to-play guides. I use her a lot. She's really amazing in Ether Raids as well because she's going to be a constantly rotating bonus unit along with the Asuka trio. So that makes her a really powerful unit to be used in the light seasons where you could pair her up. with air if the light and the water seasons are coinciding. And even without that, just having those bonus stats makes her really powerful because she's got high resistance, which is definitely useful for taking on stuff like Ophelia and the ranged threats and the mages. She's got a distant counter lance and a special which can increase her survivability against these ranged threats. So definitely a really powerful unit to be used in Aether raids. But it's just that you cannot really bless her with Light Blessing and use her whenever you want. You kind of want to use her when she's a bonus unit or when the light and the water season are coinciding. So that's the only limit of Fjorm when it comes to Aether raids. But other than that, she's a really fantastic unit. And as for fodder, we do have Rutger now, who has got attack defense bond. So nobody's going to be going out of their way to summon Fjorm, I guess, for that skill. The next unit is Legendary Ike. He's pretty solid unit even now. And he's really useful for clearing in-game contents as seen by the free-to-play guides, of course. And he's quite useful in Arena Assault, and for the most part, in Aether raids, he's not going to be all that useful because of his red color. Blue threats are really prominent there. So red color is definitely not going to be doing him much favors, but still he's a solid sword unit, having good bulk, good attack. And you could also run a Thanos Ike build with Special Spiral, which is really powerful because he's got a 4-turn cooldown Ether and a weapon which has got distant counter built into it, while he can enjoy the breath charges on his special. So that makes him a pretty good candidate for Special Spiral because he could easily retaliate back with Ether in enemy phase, and that makes him a really good unit in terms of survivability for clearing up abyssal content, for chain challenges, and you know, stuff like that. He's a really solid unit, and he's got Warding Breath as a really good fodder skill. Warding Breath might actually be much better in Aether raids because you're going to be facing a lot of like magical threats. One of the best axe units in the game because of Thunder Armats. Ostia's Pulse is also fantastic support for mixed teams. Pretty nasty for Aether raids because you could have Infantry Pulse, Ostia Pulse, have Valuria, a bunch of stuff to increase the charges on your special to keep it ready. It's going to be much better on defense because on offense, Hector's armor movement could be annoying if you want to get the pots and just have a better movement. So on defense, he's going to be really useful for those kinds of infantry pulse and those special spam nuke teams. So Ostia's Pulse provides great support. He's got amazing stat spread. And for fodder, he of course has distant counter, which is really useful. A premium skill, so definitely 5 out of 5 on that. And then we have got Legendary Marth here. So the red color is really stacked this time. For Legendary heroes, we've got Legendary Marth, Ike, and Roy. So Legendary Marth is one of the best infantry sword units in the game, which is a big thing because there is a lot of competition for red infantry sword units. So to be on the top of that kind of oversaturated class type definitely means a lot. Exalted Falchion is a really powerful weapon which has got bonus doubler built into it, and he also has his exclusive skill Fire Emblem, which does damage based on his speed stat and provides buffs to all of his allies and to himself once he has triggered that special. And Binding Shield is a godsend skill for Arena Assault, so even if you get just one copy of him, he can be used really well in Arena Assault no matter what his IVs are, because Binding Shield is so useful right there. Whenever I see a team with 3 or more dragons, I just have to pop up my Legendary Marth and have like 1 or 2 dancers, and he can just sweep the entire team with him. So really amazing for Arena Assault because of that skill, and even outside of that, it's gonna be really good. And Infantry Flash as a fodder isn't really all that good. It's definitely situational, but can be useful in some scenarios and depending on your team if you run like a full infantry team. The next unit is Winter Eirika. She's definitely a really good healer. Being an armored unit, she does have more BST, which means that she's got more bulk and she's rather min-maxed, so she can run a tank build really well. Can be useful in an Aether raids defense team, in some kind of armor stall team. Her healing is definitely going to be useful along with a healing tower. Unfortunately, she doesn't really have access to any kind of offensive special, so she cannot use stuff like Bullfighter or Vengeful Fighter to the degree of some other armor units, like maybe Halloween Jacob, you know, someone like that. So that's definitely an unfortunate thing, but outside of that, she's a fantastic support unit. Is pretty min-maxed as far as tanks go for healers, and can provide really good fodder utility in attack opening. Joyce Lantern Plus, which is definitely going to be useful for in-game content and also for Aether raids offense, for buffing up just a Vantage Sweeper or something like that. from a distance without getting affected by someone like a Versa. That's definitely going to be a boon. So overall a pretty good unit. And then we have got Winter Ephram, so we just have all of the winter units here. Winter Ephram is pretty insane because he's got 41 base attack and also has a super boon in attack. So he can reach 45 base attack, which makes him an insane armor unit. Especially with some kind of Vantage build or any kind of Bolt Fighter build, because his damage output is going to be ridiculous, and that is not even counting attack, defense, solo, and his festive segment. So it's not really all that hard to achieve. He just has to be not near an ally. So he could run armored boots, or he could also use armor march. It's not really as strict as flame segment, so he could definitely be a very powerful unit with festive segment in the both phases, as long as no allies are near him, because he just wants to celebrate this Christmas alone. Fantastic fodder in attack, defense, solo, bolt fighter, and also close guard. So overall a really good lance armor unit. And I do consider Brave Hector to be slightly better lance armor unit because of Malted and Ostian counter, so he's able to have the mixed phase utility without having any kind of sacred seal, whereas Ephraim would need a quick riposte sacred seal to be a mixed phase armor. And the next winter unit is Winter Fae. So Winter Fae is a really popular super tank unit I've seen in my Ether Rates defense replays. A lot of people do use her with lightning breath and usual stuff. But the thing is that she cannot really have access to null counter disrupt like the other infantry dragons, like her infantry self, who's also green. And she does have that clunky one movement, which is going to be annoying. Has dual weakness to armor and dragon affected weapons. Still, her enormous resistance is definitely going to be a huge boon on light seasons with light blessing. She's going to be a really good unit to check those kinds of Ether Rates defense teams, which use a lot of mages, stuff like Ophelia, Reinhardt, a lot of just mage threats. But you gotta watch out for Hoshiden Summer Micaiah. She's gonna be her #1 enemy if you're not running Sylvalan Shield, which a lot of Faes I've seen do not really do. So really good in that aspect, but unfortunately doesn't have access to null counter disrupt, which is a fantastic skill for any kind of super tank in Ether Raids. For fodder, she has got defense respond, which is a really useful skill. It can be stacked up with something like attack, defense, bond, and sacred seal, or also have attack respond whenever that sacred seal comes out. It's inevitable basically. And the next unit is gonna be Leanne. So Leanne has got a run. Herons are incredible with their passive healing from their Heron Wing. That's really useful for someone like Brave Celica or the normal version of Alm with his weapon Refine. She's a colorless beast flyer, so she doesn't really have any kind of color disadvantage. She is really fast, more min-max than Rayson, but many times I've felt this even on the Ether Rates offense and on defense replays that many times the defense of Rayson is a big lifesaver, and the green color isn't really all that bad because there are so many blue threats in the Ether Rates metagame, so it's not really all that bad of a color. So it's all up to you how you want to have your 3 movement dancer, if you want to have a colorless Leanne or just have a budget Rayson who can appear at 4-star rarity. So I do find Rayson to be a bit better actually now. At first Leanne seemed better, but now I do find Rayson to be a bit better. So she still has pretty good fodder potential with Hone Beast and Flyer Formation, and that's pretty much it. Flyer Formation is useful for Flyer teams, and Hone Beast is definitely a pretty powerful skill for these beast units. And because she's a 3 movement dancer, she's got Heron Wing and she's a beast unit, so she's definitely a pretty coveted dancer in that regard. And having 2 herons isn't really all that bad for stuff like Arena Assault or for Squad Assault or Blessed Gardens. And the next unit we have is Nailah. Wolf Queen Nailah making her return on this banner. So she is a highly coveted unit because of null counter disrupt. That's a godlike skill in Ether Rates offense because you could put that skill on a super tank. Definitely has to be an infantry because this is infantry locked skill. This can also be given to Raven Tome units to make them a really good check to colorless threats, stuff like Brave Veronica especially. And Nailah herself is pretty solid unit. The only lackluster part about her is that she doesn't have a very high base attack, but in general for the long run with her weapon and with the extra damage which you can get from that, it does make up for her low attack. Nailah doesn't really have high resistance to make full use of null counter disrupt and ether raids, because you're not going to be facing a lone Veronica out there. You're definitely going to be having a defense team which is going to be having overlapping ranges with that said Veronica, with someone like Reinhardt and more ranged threats. But still, if you use her in the light season with air and buff up her resistance, she can definitely be useful as a tank, but definitely needs some stat stacking. Distant counter is once again a really coveted skill, along with null counter disrupt. And then we have got Legendary Roy, pretty similar unit to Legendary Marth, but does have more BST, has got bonus doubler, which is a coveted skill for ether raids, or for just in general any kind of really high invested unit who's like plus 10, because if you use them with someone like Legendary Azura, you're going to be able to make them extremely strong for any kind of content in the game. And as far as ether raids goes, I've seen this in my defense replays on like super tanks like Fade, Noe, stuff like that. They just buff up their Noe with Legendary Azura, use bonus doubler to make her incredibly tanky and stuff like that. And Legendary Roy himself has got pretty good speed stats. Legendary Roy is a really strong infantry red sword unit, and Human Virtue does give you a pretty good support option. Legendary Marth has got Fire Emblem and Infantry Flash to support his teammates, while Roy has got this skill. So overall a pretty good unit and fodder. And he's quite recent. He also has that new blessing effect, and the pair up mechanic does work with that. And finally, we have got Sue on this banner, so she definitely got her rerun pretty early on. We just had the Binding Blade banner like in March, and we just got this the next month. So Sue isn't really all that groundbreaking compared to someone like Brave Lynn, who has been released in the first year of the game, but she is a green bow cavalier, and bow cavaliers are a pretty rare breed, and the third bow cavalier is just a seasonal unit, so that just leaves Sue and Brave Lynn. That makes her a pretty annoying unit to fight, and ether raids of course because of that movement. She does bring some pretty good fodder utility as well in Hone Speed 4, and also has short bow, which is a bow dow, I guess. So pretty useful in that regard with her high mobility. So that's the banner basically. This is an extremely good banner because it has got really good legendary heroes. Red is just stacked up with legendary heroes. That is just the Super Smash Bros squad right there. And we also have legendary Hector, legendary Alm, and Fjorm. Really good legendary units in general. And legendary units always have really good value because they're always going to be rotating in stuff like arena and also in ether raids. So in ether raids you could definitely save a blessing because you could just use them as your bonus unit, and they could get even more stats if their season is coinciding with the season of the mythic hero. So really good in that aspect. And in arena you could definitely use them as their bonus unit as they are in the rotation. Has got fantastic fodder potential and bold fighter, distant counter, null counter disrupt, bonus doubler, Hone Speed 4, which is good for arena scoring, warding breath, and also for some supportive skills you do have Winter Eirika. So overall a pretty strong banner with strong units, strong fodder, and they provide a lot of utility, a lot of value in pretty much all of the game modes. So they're pretty versatile in that regard. So this is a pretty good banner to summon on, but keep in mind that we're going to be getting an Astro Mythic hero the next month. So if you actually care about ether raids and the top rankings, you could save the orb for that. And if you are just in tier 21, you just want to maintain tier 21, then you definitely do not want to bother much. Legendary Alm has been a heavily requested unit for a long time, and I know a lot of people are going to be summoning for him, so definitely go for what is fun for you. If the top rankings and ether raids are fun for you, then just wait for the unknown Astro Mythic hero that we might get. And another suspicion which I have is that on the 10th of May, we might get a new Shadows of Valentia banner with new units. Stuff like Python, Valbar, Luthier, units like that, and even Renea, I don't know. Because from the pattern that we have seen in past few months, that might actually be a possibility. So, and yeah, that's gonna be it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then please be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, then make sure to subscribe for more Fire Emblem Heroes content, and make sure to hit that notification bell so that you get updates to my videos whenever I upload, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as Gen 1 archers after the release of Legendary Alm. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.